Hello and welcome to Under Pretense of Death, Moon. This is a demo for a visual novel with hidden object elements, and the demo is actually set before the main game, so we're getting a prequel. No spoilers for the main game, and instead get to know a bit more about one of the love interests. We're also not playing the main character we get in the main game, so yeah, that's kind of cool. And the demo alone is supposed to have 3 different endings? Yeah, let's just get into it.
Will he actually be here? I can't believe he's finally arriving.
I absent-mindedly sort through immigration documents in my hands, every now and then casting a glance at the open window. The setting sun's rays make their way into the gap between the heavy drapes, illuminating the places where soft twilight had gathered in Janine and I's office. I hope to spot something unusual among the treetops and white stone buildings of the Palace District, but my pupils don't have enough time to adapt to the bright light. Blurry bright spots dance in front of my eyes. I squint a little too forcefully, and tears involuntarily form. I wipe my eyes with my free hand and try to focus on the documents. He will come, of course. Oberon is never late when he needs me to gather information for him. More precisely, his minions are never late. He hasn't come to see me in person in a while. Why would this time be any different? My pleasant excitement and anticipation for our little reunion give way to slight anxiety, and I find myself staring out the window again. The drapes suddenly twitch sharply to the side with a heavy rustle, and the office darkens.
Janine?
My voice sounds smooth and calm, despite the subtle note of discontent.
I'm sorry, but the sun was shining right in my eyes.
I look up at my colleague. The sunlight no longer reaches her dusk, but Janine still holds a folder in front of herself, covering the top of her face. Her lips, pink and puffy like those of a porcelain doll, are pouted in resentment, and her hand is frozen in the air, as if she is waiting to swipe something away.
I didn't think you'd mind. I can open them back up, of course, but I'd be very grateful if you could explain exactly what it is that I should sacrifice my vision for.
Janine throws the folder on the countertop and carefully examines me with her orange avian eyes. She didn't notice, of course, that I was still looking out the window.
No, don't, thank you. I don't want to make you uncomfortable.
Still better than when I shared my office with people.
Janine leans forward on the table towards me and continues in a dramatic tone.
There were no curtains at all. And although I tried to convey to those freaks that, unlike them, I can't work when the sun shines right in my face, they just ignored me.
What a nightmare.
Satisfied with my reaction, Janine continues to chatter louder and louder, clearly not caring that someone might overhear her gossip. I've heard it all 1,000 times, so fortunately, all I need to do is nod and release some sympathetic sighs. My mind is quickly carried away by a stream of my own thoughts. I haven't seen Oberon in years, but that amount of time is only a moment for an elf, so it's unlikely he has changed very much. My gaze falls on the documents that have been lying on my desk all this time. A list of Troll townspeople, both local and newcomers. The results of research on their ability to communicate with spirits, descriptions of strange spiritual practices. Or has he changed? Since when is Oberon interested in trolls? What did he drag himself into this time?
Manhin, are you still here?
Shanine's melodic voice brings me back to reality, but I remain tethered to my anxious thoughts.
Oh, what?
I said I'm leaving early today. Can you cover for me?
Yes, of course. Sorry, I'm a little tired today.
Shanine walks up close and, with undisguised curiosity, examines me and the documents lying in front of me. When did she get up?
No wonder. You've been working all day long, writing something, digging through the archives. Perhaps they were too dusty. Do you want me to open the window after all? Then you'll be able to keep looking at whoever you're trying to see out there.
She did notice. Shanine nearly chuckles, and she doesn't even try to hide her snide smile.
I don't report to you. But if you can't contain your curiosity, so be it. I'm actually waiting for someone.
Someone? You're so nervous, I'm starting to suspect that a cute spy will come to see us. Ooh, or maybe a foreign agent? Come on, Manhin. Tell me!
Holy flames, Shanine. You should read fewer romance novels. No cute spy is interested in knowing how many trolls immigrated to Ob Anon last year. It's not even classified information, so don't worry, the kingdom is safe.
Ugh, trolls. Sounds unimaginably boring. So, no mysterious pretty boys for sure?
My brother is quite the boy. However, it's not for me to judge how pretty he is.
In my opinion, quite pretty.
Your brother?
Shanine's eyes flare up even brighter, which furthers her resemblance to an eager, hungry bird of prey. Pushing her claws against the woefully creaking table, she leans slightly towards me. I can see the azure glitter that fell on her face from her intricate makeup.
Is Isa going to visit us? I was planning to spend the evening at the Emerald, but for Isa's sake, I'm ready to reconsider my plans.
Us? Even if it was Isa, there's no chance in hell he'd come here for you, you little vulture. Okay, our first choice. I'm sure Isa would be happy to talk to you. I think he has more important things to do than have stupid small talk. Are we like setting them up or something? Maybe to get off our backs, sure.
I'm sure Isa would be happy to talk to you.
I have no doubt.
Shanine smirks suggestively.
That's not exactly what I meant. Doesn't it bother you that Isa is married to your sister?
Oh.
First off, to my cousin. And second off, why should it? I'm not trying to take her place. Manhin, you're so naive. Do you really think Adwi hasn't found a lover yet? Maybe Isa is also seeing someone else.
I don't meddle in my brother's affairs.
As if there's something so terrible about having a good time with someone. You could use some fun too, you know.
I squeeze out a polite smile. I have no desire to continue this conversation.
You can chat with me, Birdie.
I shudder, and my fountain pen slips out of my hand and falls to the floor. It's as if Oberon's slightly vibrating voice gently caresses my skin and makes it tingle slightly, like from a wool scarf. My heart skips a beat. Unable to look at our sudden guest, my eyes cling to a crack in the lacquered table. I almost forgot how it feels. Physically manifesting his voice and projecting its force at others has been one of the many magical tricks up Oberon's sleeve since childhood. Janine lazily turns towards him and frowns in a charade of disappointment.
Oh, look who graced us with a visit. Oberon! Did you climb in through the window like a stray cat? And here I was, foolishly thinking that Manheen was talking about her real brother.
Calling her out or keeping quiet? I'll keep quiet.
I'm so sorry I've disappointed you. It's a good thing that at least one person's expectations matched reality. I had no doubt that I would see you quacking about here, bird brain.
Janine's face distorts into a squeamish grimace. Her eyes are no longer gleaming with excitement, but rather smoldering with rage. Hot anger, which the elf does not try to restrain.
That's your answer? Do you want to insult me or make me laugh?
Please, enough. Let's try to keep some decency.
I finally dare to look at Oberon. My ex-fiancé has indeed hardly changed over the years, except that his profile is a little sharper and dark circles lie under his eyes. The air around us crackles slightly from the subtle swirls of magical energy. I smell ozone and petrichor like after a spring thunderstorm. Upon my shoulders falls a feeling of incredible heaviness, as if I was struggling against a huge weight. Oberon's magical potential is still obvious and significant, but this show seems somewhat restrained, a skill not part of his former repertoire. After a few seconds, everything disappears, and I find myself feeling wistful. Something empty inside of me yearns to feel his force again, and not let go so easily. Finally catching my glance, Oberon slightly lifts the corners of his lips, and I can barely hold back from answering his gaze with a silly smile.
Manheen is a true diplomat as usual, staying neutral and trying to appeal to everyone's conscience.
That's me, all right.
I'm not happy choosing a side just yet. And good evening to you, Oberon.
Oberon slightly bows his head in greeting. Before, he would have been much less restrained upon meeting me. Perhaps he would have hugged me or pressed his cold lips to my forehead. I turn sharply to Janine, trying to ward off bitter thoughts.
Oberon asked me to gather some information about theurgy. Nothing that can cause us problems here, though. Don't worry.
Except that his appearance here is already a problem. What did you call it? Theurgy? Yet again, some dangerously dull nonsense that will inevitably cause us all trouble.
Theurgy is the ability to communicate with spirits, my sweet bird. They cannot be seen without special training and education, much less spoken to. And I'm not surprised at all that you don't know anything about it. This concept lies slightly in a different plane than one's choice of nail color.
It's starting up again. I give an exasperated sigh as Oberon and Janine continue to exchange pleasantries, almost forgetting about my existence. He's being his usual self, but Janine is reacting harshly to his taunting. Oberon's criminal activities are, of course, no secret, but officially his reputation is clean as the son of an influential house. I don't think his appearance here can actually cause us any serious problems, though Janine has never cared much about her career. There must be something else.
Maybe a cup of tea, Oberon?
If you came to me for help, maybe that means you'll focus on me instead of Janine.
I wouldn't mind something stronger.
I'll make you some strong tea.
Our eyes lock. His are filled with fatigue and painful tension. He's rubbing his neck, and I notice a wound covered in blood, almost imperceptible under the cover of his tattoo. It's very fresh. Did he get into a fight on the way here? At least his pupils look normal. I'm surprised he cared enough to show up sober, even if a little wary. Oberon guesses what I'm thinking. Sneering and discontent, he turns away from me and unceremoniously falls on the couch, resting his feet on the armrest.
Tea it is, then.
From the elf's delicate fingers breaks purple light that twists into a spiral, erupts, then dissolves again. Oberon lazily throws his toy orb from hand to hand, either out of boredom or mechanically, without even realizing he's creating magic. I watch his little performance, mesmerized, until Janine reminds me about her presence with an agitated sigh.
Janine?
My colleague stands, leaning on my desk again, and looks around the office in confusion.
Is everything okay?
What? Yes. I just thought I saw something.
How about some tea? I know you're not particularly a fan of it, but this one's special. I got it as a gift from the Assistant Imperial Envoy for helping with the exhibition.
From that weird nerd? No thanks. My workday is over, and I'm going to spend the evening in much more pleasant company.
Janine, not honoring Oberon with a word of farewell, heads to the exit with her heels loudly clacking against the floor. She suddenly stops at the door and quickly turns to me.
If you do want to join in, Manhin, you know where to find me. And I'd throw away the tea if I were you. Who knows what he snuck in there?
Have fun, Birdie. Your flock's waiting.
The office seems to have become colder, the silence broken only by the ticking of the wall clock and the joyful trills of birds, audible from the still ajar window. She left so abruptly. Was it because of Oberon?
Birdie? Really?
She only lacks feathers. A real canary. But in all fairness, she sings just as beautifully.
Since when did Janine ever sing? She just hisses at you like a snake. What did you do to her?
I haven't the slightest idea what you're talking about. By the way, what's with the envoy? Are you serving me tea from your admirers?
Admirers? No. It's just a gesture of gratitude. Few elves were interested in helping organize a joint exhibition with humans. I thought it would be a good opportunity to reintroduce both sides to their common history and culture, especially considering that before the rebellion, our traditions were heavily intertwined. The humans, though they were harshly enslaved by our ancestors, developed many traditions, some of which they inherited from their elven masters. And, despite their short life expectancy, people achieved very impressive results because of their natural craftiness. After all, such rapid evolution between generations leads to a fresh look at things. For example, if we take tanners and fur products...
I lose my train of thought as I notice a sly smile on Oberon's face.
I'm sorry. I got a little carried away.
Oh no, it's very interesting. You're so enthusiastic. You're even blushing.
What? No, I'm not.
Oberon lets out a short laugh as I unconsciously cover my cheeks, now burning with embarrassment with my hands.
So, what about that tea? No lemon, please.
Okay, so we're going to make tea. Oh, but we can look around a lot here, it seems. A box with offerings for the day of sunrise. This holiday, I will throw all these things into the sacred fire so that Architesh will give me liberation from these painful memories. My attention is caught by a golden amulet with intertwined triangles. The decoration looks unfinished. It lacks the other half. An engagement amulet.
What have you got there? A box of trinkets?
Offerings for the holiday.
Will you burn the amulet too?
I guess so. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
Perhaps our Hatosh will free you from any sad memories.
Is that what you did with the other half? You just burned it, and maybe you're right. I want to know what you did.
Is that what you did with the other half? You just burned it?
I tried to stay calm, but there's resentment in my voice. Yeah, that's what I didn't expect with this answer, to be honest.
I don't know what happened to it. Must have lost it when I left home.
Or you threw it out.
I see how it is.
The engagement broke up years ago. Do I have to keep it forever?
Oberon shrugs indifferently and looks away. Okay, that was a strange reaction, wasn't it? And of course he doesn't have to keep it if he doesn't want to, but yeah. Okay, what's that? Club card? The Emerald, a closed-doors private club for those who like to have a good time.
Are you still a club member? I haven't seen you there in a long time.
Certainly. But I'm afraid we attend different events. The ones I visit are a little more intimate and much less elite. There, guests don't stop at champagne spiked with bish.
When he mentions the dog, I twitch involuntarily. Is that where you crossed paths with Janine? She also dabbles in bish, as most elven youth do. She did mention some secret parties before, but didn't gossip too much about them. That's atypical for Janine.
Maybe I could keep you company next time.
I have no desire to attend such gatherings, but if it helps to let me and Oberon spend a little more time together...
You don't quite fit in at those type of events. But I'd love to accompany you to something more... decent.
How about an opera?
Oh, no. Anything but the opera.
Okay. I was about to say that, like, she's trying a little too hard if he, reacted like that before. Like, he doesn't want to get back with her, I guess. You always say no comments art. Do you have any other suggestions? Yeah, what else do you have in mind?
Do you have any other suggestions?
Oberon looks a little surprised.
I'm glad you asked. You know, life in the capital is not limited to gaudy receptions in the opera. Have you ever tasted shark fin soup?
Shark fins? That doesn't sound very edible.
A new restaurant recently opened near the old sanatorium. I heard you can choose the fish you're going to eat before it's cooked right in front of you, still alive and moving.
I'm not sure I like that idea.
Agreed, but also I don't really like fish, so...
The restaurant is open late into the night, and if you're lucky, you can reserve a table on the balcony. On a clear, moonless night, in the sky above the seaside view, you can make out the scarlet star of the Mechna constellation.
The constellation of the red shark.
Oberon nods contentedly, stretching his lips in a mysterious half-smile.
I will think about it.
Think then.
Okay, interesting. A vial? The bottle is not like the usual medicine bottles. It's made of expensive glass, with a cap encrusted with purple gems. Maybe it's perfume? There are no ingredients on the label, no name either, but rather an emblem, a spider web emblazoned onto a purple background. There's a little purple powder left on the bottom that looks like colored sand or sugar. Bish, an alchemical drug that allows short-term increase of magical potential, or elicits a state of euphoria. It depends. That's very vague. Janine must have forgotten it.
Now this looks familiar. Where did the sand come from?
Sand?
That's what people call bish these days, haven't you heard?
Oberon clenches his hand closed, then opens it, and the bottle appears in his grasp a second later. Telekinesis.
I try to stay away from everything related to Bish.
Oberon's poignant? I never know how to pronounce this word. Oberon's laughter makes me flinch in surprise.
Am I an exception? Generally, you're right. Sand can be dangerous, deadly even. It can give the user powers they never even imagined to possess. But it can take away just as much. For some, it's that feeling of true oblivion which draws them in.
Oberon slowly stretches his words, peering into the purple grains. They reflect in the elf's eyes, making his irises sparkle with the alluring violet color of Bish. Maybe that's not a coincidence.
This drug kills, and those who survive become slaves to habit.
Oberon catches my troubled gaze and, with a subtle flick of his wrist, teleports the bottle of Bish back onto the table.
You're exaggerating. Technically, it's made from Biot crystals, which are already in our body. Bish is just a form in which they're relatively safe to consume.
Biot should not be consumed by elves, let alone by humans whose blood does not contain even a trace of that poisonous material. There's nothing natural about it, just like your beloved Bish.
Oberon tilts his head with an almost bored look.
You're judging me, Manhin. The addicts are driven by the basic desire to become more powerful, to touch true magic. Is it really my fault that someone crosses the line because they can't control themselves?
Yes, peddling Bish is immoral, you're taking advantage of others' weaknesses, or I suppose I'm not a judge to decide who's right and who's to blame. Oh, weird. This is hard. I mean, this is hard even in real life. I'm not telling anyone what to do, but drugs are bad, kids.
Yes, peddling Bish is immoral. You're taking advantage of others' weaknesses.
Oberon sheds his composed facade and barks with the cruelty of a criminal.
I am not a nurse, nor am I a guardian of other people's morals. There will always be weaklings who don't know how to limit their thirst for delight or power. I don't shove my goods forcibly down their throats, ears, or other holes. I simply provide a service. Why they keep coming back is none of my concern. Besides, I don't intend to be lectured by someone who's not averse to manipulation and blackmail in her negotiations, Madam Secretary.
That's completely different. Don't compare diplomatic work with selling narcotics.
Agreed.
What a convenient perspective.
Wow. Okay, we can directly talk to him. Painting. Indeed. What is that?
Manhin, are you okay?
No. I'm still figuring this out. Oh. It's a recipe for how to properly make the special tea. Oh, okay. The card probably fell off the table. Interesting. Okay, talk to him first, or? Okay. What about that wound, huh?
You have a wound on your neck. Are you okay?
This.
Oberon slides his long fingers along the wound around his neck and winces a little.
Nothing that's worth your attention. I had a little altercation on the way here.
Altercation? Does it have to do with your...
I hesitate, trying to find the right word. Oberon chuckles heartily.
My little, not quite legal production? You can call things by their names. I have nothing to be ashamed of.
It's like you're proud of it.
Why would I not be? What do you think I should be proud of, if not my brainchild?
Brainchild, really? Your clean bloodline, your magical potential. Silence. I don't know. Bloodline isn't something to be proud of. Magical potential.
Your magic potential? Your abilities are more than impressive, and it looks like you're only getting stronger.
Oberon lets out a soft laugh.
You're wrong. What's the point of being proud of something that's not my merit? Is the Storm proud to be able to throw a ship onto the rocks or wipe an entire village out?
He leans a little closer towards me. Suddenly, I feel like I'm under a stream of cool water. Oberon manifested his voice again, and it tangibly hits my skin like the pitter-patter of drizzling rain droplets. There's now a salty taste in my mouth, and my mind gets filled with images of a restless seashore. I shake my head, trying to quell Oberon's intrusion. He couldn't influence me like that before. It looks like he's much stronger now than me or Isa.
Are you comparing yourself to the elements now?
The illusion disappears as quickly as it came, taking my anxieties with it and leaving behind only some pleasant lightness, the calm after the storm.
Perhaps. My talents are a part of my nature. I'm not proud of them, but I don't downplay them.
Oh really, fate gave you the greatest gift and you wasted on flirting with criminal scum? Or one day you will realize that rejecting your family is going against your elven nature. These are both not great options. But I don't know about his family, and just like keeping with your family because it's your elven nature, that doesn't sound right, so.
Oh, really? Fate gave you the greatest gift, and you wasted on flirting with criminal scum?
Oberon looks really annoyed for the first time this evening. Oh, sorry.
And how is that worse than wasting it instead on the whims of the patriarch and matron?
How dare you?
How dare I what? Know my worth?
You're acting like a capricious child. It's not just the matron or the patriarch. We have to take care of the family, our house, and its position.
It's good that they have you.
Us, you mean?
I'm sure you'll take care of the damn house and all of our dear family members, whether they want it or not, won't you?
Oberon sighs and rubs his temples wearily.
How many times must we have this conversation? I'm tired. Let's move on without your attempts to put a leash on me, at least for today.
That's what it is, huh? That's what I thought. Want to be free, do your own stuff. Which is fine. But yeah.
How did you get into the office?
Through the window.
Just like a cat.
But I would have noticed.
Oh, that's what you were so nervous about. Were you watching for me?
I turn away to hide the embarrassment on my face.
I know how to go unnoticed. If I want to.
Okay, I'll go make some tea.
I'll make some tea.
Okay, nothing else left in here, right? Yeah, sure. Let's make some tea. Oberon rises slightly to get a better look at the serving table.
You've got a whole alchemy lab here. I hope you're not trying to poison me.
I'm sure some people would be happy to mix potions in the workplace, but it's just a tea set. I mentioned that I received it as a gift from an assistant Imperial envoy. He assured me that this is the only one in the whole kingdom of the fairies. It says on the box that some troll clans still use this tea. Apparently, they drink it before ritual communication with their ancestors. or just to relax and focus their minds.
All right, you got me. I'm curious. Serving it seems a little more complicated than an ordinary tea ceremony. Are you sure you don't need my help?
I can handle it. It's just tea.
Okay, but you'll be the first to taste it.
Okay, let's make tea.
It's a good thing I found the recipe.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, we'll take some
This
tea.
tea is supposed to influence your mood, if you know how to prepare it properly.
Interesting. Yeah, we're going to add it. A lot of herbs. Okay, we should put some purple herbs.
Oberon's favorite color.
Add. I mean, I suppose this is supposed to be these?
Red currant berries for anxiety relief.
Okay. And then the blue herbs.
Blue like the sky on a clear day.
That should be it. No lemon as you asked. Is it right? Yeah, should be done, right? The tea shimmers with beautiful golden honey shades.
Ah, that's great, Manhin. It smells just wonderful.
Disregarding etiquette, Oberon takes the cup of tea straight out of my hands. For a moment, our fingers touch. A shiver runs down my spine. Oberon looks away slowly. Silence reigns in the room for a while again, broken only by the quiet chime of porcelain cups and the usual ticking of the wall clock. The prolonged silence is unnerving, but with each sip of tea, the embarrassment gradually gives way to tranquility. Huh, it's working. No longer so tense, Oberon reaches for a nearby box of cookies and even smiles at me a little longer than usual.
I've heard humans bake cookies that can predict fate.
Fate cookies?
Something like that. There's a hidden message inscribed carefully on a piece of paper around which the cookie itself is baked. It's usually something positive.
I pick up a ginger biscuit and crack it in half.
I wish these had secrets too.
Are you still into divination? I thought the matron didn't approve of trickery magic.
I don't tell her everything. Would you like me to read your tarot cards?
Were you just waiting to ask that?
I feel a little embarrassed.
Shanine considers it all quackery and not real magic. So I try to keep this hobby to myself and those with an open mind.
I'm not Shanine, but I also doubt that the cards should be believed. No piece of paper can predict someone's future. But if it amuses you, I don't mind.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion when it comes to like tarot, horoscopes, everything. It's for entertainment, I don't take it too seriously, but it's fun, so A gentle wave of my palm and a well-worn deck appears on my hands. There is indeed no magic in tarot cards, at least in the usual sense, but somehow they are often right.
Take 3.
Oberon follows my instructions and puts his 3 cards face down on the table in front of him.
The first one signifies the past.
I'm filled with fresh excitement as I slowly turn the first card.
The moon.
On this path of mine, between twilight and shadow, the moon lights the way.
My heart is pierced with longing at the spontaneous, melancholy haiku. I raise a cautious glance at Oberon. He understands and frowns.
I couldn't have known you'd pick that one.
I suppose there exist connections to moon other than your name.
Oberon's voice manifests again, this time in an icy form, carrying the sensation of frostbite. The intense cold radiates through my body as I feel frosty needles gently poking at me. His magic is starting to weigh down on me again.
Yes, the moon card has many meanings. Maybe you've waited too long to act, or you were a follower instead of a leader. You were surrounded by too many choices.
My very lungs are shrinking from the cold. I cough, unable to take a breath.
Please, stop. It's hard for me to breathe.
Oberon suddenly jumps to his feet and takes a few steps away from me. He nervously runs his hand through his hair as his eyes darken, shimmering with shades of purple. The marks on his cheekbones stand out very distinctly and seem to glow from within with trembling mystical energy.
I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose.
I'm released from the clutches of his magic, and air finally rushes into my lungs. I catch my breath as I gradually loosen my hold on the fabric of the blouse near my neck.
Are you all right? Why didn't you resist?
Oberon looks at me anxiously, still hesitant to approach.
Yes, I'm fine. I don't know. I didn't think it was going to be so strong this time.
He unwittingly takes another step back.
I've overstayed my welcome. Where are the documents I asked you to collect?
Wait. Let's see the rest of the cards. Then I'll get you the papers.
Don't go, please.
I almost died there. You can't just walk away now.
I said that as a joke, but it didn't land very well. Oberon stands in his doubts for a while, but eventually nods in agreement.
Fine. Let's see the next one.
Still in the process of remembering how to breathe, the morning anxiety which left me when Oberon appeared begins to stir once again in the back of my mind.
Death.
Oberon doesn't respond. He just stares at me, not even blinking.
You know, death is not a bad card. It doesn't mean you're going to die soon. It's more of a metaphorical rebirth, a transition to something new.
I hesitate, but manage to continue in a slightly shaking tone.
Perhaps it is time to stop looking back on your past. Time to let it go and start a new chapter.
Death is not the end. Try to cherish your lifetime, never looking back.
What?
Don't turn around.
A vile, shadowy, barely humanoid creature appears behind me, close to the back wall. Its bumpy grey flesh exudes a thick visual haze, which makes the whole body of the monster seem to ebb and flow with every moment. The torso, if you can call it that, imperceptibly spills into skinny, ghostly legs, ending with long, bony feet floating eerily just above the floor. I exhale convulsively, turning my eyes to Oberon. He puts his finger to his lips and ever so slightly shakes his head. Fear quickly gives way to almost animal instincts. My vision slightly blurs, and it feels like time slows down. My muscles tense up, ready to throw myself forward at any moment, like a compressed steel spring. I can feel magic coursing through my veins, making its way through my body and concentrating at my fingertips.
Don't move.
Okay, we're going to listen to him. I freeze, trying to ignore the ancient primal voice, the instinct pounding my brain like a drum. Run. Defend yourself. Survive. It takes every ounce of my willpower to not move, but it works. The monster thinks it has gone unnoticed. It stands there, its flesh still bubbling with shadowy energy. Some fragments from its cracked body chip away like shards from a broken vase. They barely have time to touch the floor before dissolving with a repulsive squishing sound. Disgusting. How did I not notice it before? Surely it didn't just manifest a moment ago?
It's focusing on you right now. Stay where you are until I catch its attention. Is that clear?
I nod slightly and silently. Arguing with Oberon right now is pointless. I can protect myself, but I'm not a soldier, and even my magic has boundaries. Who knows how fast and strong this thing is? The monster begins to understand that it has been noticed, and its slurping, squishing, guttural noises become more frequent. It takes monumental effort to not turn around, but I manage to stay still. Not knowing what this thing is doing behind your back is worse than looking at its slimy, festering flesh head on. I hear the sounds getting closer. I can't bear it any longer. I panic, and I turn to face the monster. The creature suddenly materializes next to me, and the musty stench of rotting flesh bombards my nostrils. It won't stay still for long. It's going to attack. The monstrosity, with all its weight, crashes into a magical shield created by Oberon. The shield, like glass, begins to shatter as a web of small cracks form and expand from the center of impact. The monster shrieks in surprise and pain, stumbling backwards. The shield is still standing. The creature prepares to lunge at me again. Sharp, shadowy claws form on its arms as it reaches back and starts to swing. But before it can even step forward, sharp crystal thorns grow out of the wall and impale the monster's chest, making a horrible squishing sound as they penetrate through its rotting flesh. Oily black liquid flows from the holes and evaporates into a layer of grey mist. The monster no longer resists, only wheezes in despair.
Move!
The shield falls apart, and I rush to the opposite side of the room. With its last breath, the creature suddenly throws up its wounded spiky tendril and lashes it around my arm. The world erupts in scarlet pain. The creature's claws cut my forearm open. The magic which has been accumulating in my fingertips unleashes in a wave of piercing glacial frost and icicles as I swiftly flick my hands towards the monster. The wave shakes the monster, though most of the spell gets absorbed by its ethereal body. A few small icicles are reflected and ricochet into my arm, causing more blood to spill as I tremble from the cold. If I didn't have some innate magic immunity, I would have been close to dying by now. Thankfully, the monster collapses after withstanding my attack. My reaction was enough to end it. The creature's body writhes in agony as it falls to the floor, eventually freezing from the inside out. Shackled in frost, it becomes silent. This time, for good. I pull my wrist out of the monster's disintegrating grip. With a nasty crack, the ice breaks off, and its hand falls to the floor, shattering upon impact.
Not bad. Are you hurt?
What?
My eyes are fixated onto the corpse of the unknown creature. Its body is dissolving into thick grey smoke, which settles on the ground.
Your arm.
I glance at my bloody arm. My adrenaline masks the pain.
Just a scratch. You've got one too.
Oberon breathes a little faster than usual, as his eyes sparkle with unhealthy excitement. Next to the old wound on his neck now exists an even fresher cut, stretching to his chest. When did he get hurt?
The spell ricocheted. Remember? We need to take care of it. I'll get a first aid kit.
I nod. My feet carry me away from the monster to the opposite end of the room. I'm surprised I can stand after that encounter. My adrenaline gradually fades, and my vision goes back to normal. My body is tired from using combat magic. Exhausted, I sit down in the nearest chair. I did well. The Patriarch would be proud of me. But even my strength was not enough to defeat that abomination on my own. What kind of creature was that? I turn to look at the monster's corpse, and am surprised to find that it has fully disintegrated, along with our magic. All that remains is a dark, murky puddle on the floor. If I were human, I'd probably be shaking with shock or losing consciousness right now. And yet, even for me, this is almost too much. I was taught to defend myself, but I wasn't trained to fight such creatures. Whatever it is, it's too strong for just one ordinary elf. I wouldn't have been able to handle it without Oberon. I reach across to the window and open it, and a gust of fresh air finally brings me to my senses. Maybe that's why Janine left so abruptly. Did she notice it and rush to safety? If so, that dumb chicken could have at least warned us. Although even Oberon didn't seem to immediately realize that there was a monster in the office. Oberon returns with a first aid kit in one hand and a bottle of whiskey in the other.
Don't look at me like that. You could use a drink too. But first aid's first.
Oberon opens a packet of gauze with his teeth and takes out a roll. He takes a bottle of antiseptic out too and holds it in front of me.
Can you do it yourself? I'm not very good at medicine.
He doesn't want to touch me again.
Oh, wow. You admitted you are good at something?
Oberon shrugs.
I'm just full of surprises today. I just don't want to hear your complaints later that I've bondaged you up too tight.
Bandaged.
Right. Oops.
Irritated, I snatch the medicine from Oberon's hands while he chuckles, slightly baring the tips of his fangs. For a moment, his gaze lingers on a series of scars running across my naked wrist. I feel embarrassed and cover my wrist with my palm.
What kind of thing was that? Where did it come from?
It was an obscure. It must have snuck in through the window after me.
An obscure, like... Are we talking Harry Potter here? Like, Oh, whatever.
An obscure? I've never seen or heard of anything like that.
I don't think you'll see one again. They came from me.
They?
I shudder. Are there others?
I ran into another one on the way to you. Usually they don't act in pairs. Don't worry, there are no others here. I'll get you a drink.
Oberon briefly fiddles around with the ingredients at the serving table. Like a skilled waiter, he pours whiskey into the proper glasses and sets them on the table between us. My nose is hit by the distinctly sharp smell of alcohol. I take a small sip, and my stomach is filled with a pleasant warmth. The pain in my arm dulls slightly.
You're good at bandaging. Do you want to come and work for me as a medic?
What happened to the last one?
She got burnt out from work.
Literally or figuratively?
Oberon chuckles heartily. As I lean back, I feel my eyelids getting heavier. The alcohol is finally dissipating the remnants of tension from before. Too many events in one day. First Oberon, then an obscure. Oberon alone is already more than enough. open my eyes, intending to ask him a little more about the obscure. My heart skips a beat. Oberon took off his shirt, showing off his muscular torso adorned with tattoos. They start from the base of his chin and go down to his collarbone, traveling further still to his lower abdomen, still tense from the fight. Wrapping his slender fingers around his whiskey glass, he lays further back on the sofa and looks at me with a sly smile.
Shouldn't good girls look away in such cases?
Taken by surprise, I hurriedly look away and drink half of my whiskey in one big gulp. The alcohol burns my throat from the inside, and I eagerly gasp for air until the smoldering sensation disappears. The stress and fatigue from battling the monster had given way to an unexpected sense of lightness. My arm barely hurts at all anymore, and the origin of the obscure is now the least of my concerns. Oberon, still half naked, watches me curiously. He had already treated the wound on his chest with antiseptic. Still slightly wet, it shines in the dim light. That cut looks more serious than it did at first glance. My gaze creeps down his abdomen along the azure sparkle coming from his tattoos.
You're not going to bandage yourself up?
I notice a thin trickle of blood coming out of his nose.
No, I regenerate fast enough to not need bandages.
You're bleeding.
Oberon hastily wipes the blood with the back of his hand, taking a look at it with grim merriment.
I'm fine. It's just been a tough day.
Because of the obscures? You said they came for you.
It's the nature of my work.
Well, since we're talking about your work...
I snap my fingers and the folder with the information I collected appears on my hand. I toss it to Oberon.
Why do you need information about theurgy? That's troll territory in the world of magic, not ours.
The alcohol makes me a little bolder, and I ask Oberon about his affairs directly, without shame.
Nothing serious. I'm just going to a dinner party.
He begins flipping through the documents.
Dinner party?
It's just my business. Nothing interesting.
Sure it is.
I turn my head in the direction of the puddle, which used to be a monster bent on killing us. Oberon diligently ignores my attempts to get into his affairs and changes the subject.
Did you screen the office? I'm surprised that half the office staff didn't run in when they heard the obscure scream.
Oh, yes. The others can't hear what's going on in this room. Before, when Shanine started gossiping about our colleagues, her voice carried through the entire office. That brought us some unpleasantries, so I cast a spell every morning now. Just in case.
Yes, Shanine is always so loud.
What? I feel like I was just stabbed with a hot knife to my gut. Any thoughts about the obscure and theurgy disappear, giving way to burning jealousy. So you did sleep with her. What did I expect? We no longer owe anything to each other, and even if we did, why am I in so much pain from this? Oberon sets his glass aside and sits up on the couch, anxiously looking at me.
Manhin, are you okay? I don't know what you're thinking.
It's too late. A dam breaks inside of me, and a torrent of old grievances, jealousy, and pain flows free, ready to sweep away everything in its path.
What am I supposed to think? You've been too busy to visit me for years, but you conveniently found time to fuck my colleague?
That's not...
Oberon exhales irritably and starts to dress quickly.
I really have to leave now.
Of course you do. It always ends up like this. You suddenly show up when you need something, drag me into your next dangerous game, and disappear for a few more years while I pick up my own pieces.
You really don't understand why I didn't come back.
No, I don't. But please, enlighten me. It's your classic way of dealing with problems. You put everything on someone else, never accepting responsibility by yourself. Has it ever been otherwise? You ran away from home, disgraced our family, without an ounce of care for what the patriarch, our father, gave you. You left me, humiliated, trampled.
Here we go again. You speak so tragically about being abandoned, yet you don't think I felt the same way. Do you truly believe I enjoyed being Father's favorite chess piece? Did it not occur to you that I wanted to die a player, not a pawn?
What a tragic fate to be the son of an influential family. I'm sure all the boys in the brothel, or whatever miserable place Father found you, would cry bitter tears if they found out about your suffering. Our family gave you everything. Everything that you could have possibly asked for. Money, education, connections, a brilliant future. And all we asked for in return was your gratitude. But you just turned up your proud peasant nose and spit on all of us. And look what you've become. A foolish, irresponsible criminal and a nobody. A nobody who chooses to be a nobody.
Hot tears are streaming down my cheeks.
Even when I was bleeding, dying, I called for you. And you didn't even care.
Oh, boo-hoo. Pity you didn't try harder to keep me chained. I'm not your lapdog. I'm not your property. And I'm not your family's property.
You just don't understand.
No, you don't understand. Every time, I hope that you'll at least try to see things my way and let me go. And every time, it ends like this.
Oberon moves so close to me that I can see his pitch-black eyelashes shudder and feel his hot breath on my lips.
I'm not coming back to you or your precious family. It's over.
Oberon picks up the folder and quickly walks to the window. He breathes a heavy sigh.
Now, good night, Manhin. We'll speak again soon. Maybe.
Wait, that's not what I meant!
At last, the now setting sun flares with a reddish flash, painting the room in scarlet, bloody tones before it plunges into darkness once again.
Don't go.
Oberon's silhouette dissolves in the darkness before I have time to say anything else. No one answers me, except the breeze that sways the curtains back and forth in the forsaken, empty room. He's gone. I climb into my office chair with legs off the ground and touching the edge of the seat, and I hug myself tightly. Maybe next time will be different? Will there even be a next time? Of course. The cycle has repeated many times. I wipe the salty tears from my face with the back of my hand, onto which smears my eyeshadow, leaving a sad, dark smudge. My makeup is hopelessly ruined. I reach my hand towards my clutch. As soon as I pick it up, a dark blue rectangle with a golden frame falls on my knees. The third card. How strange that I didn't notice it. The card seems unnaturally heavy, as if it was not made of paper, but rather a sheet of cast iron.
The sun?
Manhin, are you still here?
I turn around and see a familiar slender figure in the doorway.
Yes. Oberon just left.
I hurriedly wipe away my tears and try to calm my expression. Janine enters the room, confident as always, her eyes alight with an infernal orange color contrasting sharply with the darkness of the office. Why did you come back? The flames of jealousy within me are ignited again, but they are much weaker than before. I have no more energy for conflict.
What's going on here?
Janine squints at the puddle of grey water on the floor and a vase that had been broken in the heat of the fight.
Please tell me you've smashed Oberon's head.
I snort and raise my gaze towards my colleague, my eyes wet and smoldering with poorly restrained fury.
Judging from your gaze, you found out, huh?
I figured it out, yeah.
I'm not going to make excuses, nor should I.
Then why are you here? Shouldn't you be at the Emerald?
Embarrassed, Janine looks at the shadowy windowsill, careful to not meet my eyes.
I was worried about you.
I raise an eyebrow in genuine curiosity.
I suspected that you would end up here alone, and clearly not in a great mood. You know, that night at the Emerald,
Please spare me the details.
there was a lot of bish, and absinthe, and the Abyss knows what else. The next morning, Oberon couldn't remember anything that happened in the past week, let alone our night together.
Oh, are you angry that he didn't invite you to breakfast?
Janine grimaces carefully and fills a spare glass on the table with whiskey from the half-empty bottle of it from earlier.
Do you really think I'm in love with him? I don't care about Oberon. To the Abyss with him. It was just a hookup, nothing more. He's a good lay and knows how to entertain.
Janine winces as if feeling a bitter taste in her mouth, regretting the words she just uttered.
I asked for no details.
It sickens me that everything always revolves around him. It doesn't matter what it is. An affair, a request for help, a business contract. In the blink of an eye, you lose your sense of self to that arrogant scumbag and become a pawn in his little game.
Janine is almost seething, but she takes a breath and tries to calm down.
The bottom line is, Oberon only cares about himself, and he very skillfully makes everyone around him do all his dirty work.
Janine looks me in the eye with unexpectedly sincere concern.
Don't let him become the center of your universe. You'll lose it all.
I'm not afraid to lose him.
You'll lose yourself.
Maybe I have already.
I don't want to discuss Oberon with you.
I honestly feel like Janine has a point. I mean, I'm sure there's more than what we know, like he's not telling us everything, but he seems pretty selfish. Janine takes a big sip of whiskey and gets up to leave.
Fine, that's up to you. You know, I came here to support you, but since you prefer being mad at me and sitting alone in the dark, empty room, so be it.
Wait, does your invitation still stand?
Janine curls her lips upward in a showy fake smile, but I can sense she was actually happy to hear that.
Now that's a different story. We'll make it just in time before the other guests lose touch with reality. Let's just fix your makeup first. Right now your face says, "Hi, nice to meet you, I'm a mess." And we don't want that, now do we?
Janine unceremoniously grabs me by the arm, practically dragging me to the door. And she's already gossiping.
Trust me, a couple glasses of Filari with sand and you'll feel much better.
Will I ever feel any better? And that was the demo. That's, yeah, a good length for a demo. You can really, get a feel for how the game works, the tone. But yeah. So, you might have guessed Oberon. Oberon is one of the 4 love interests that are currently planned for the main game. Not sure how much we'll see of the other characters, but yeah. This is it for now. Looking forward to the main game. You can see the social media here. Please, follow them. Support the devs, and if you want to play the demo for yourself, it's free and on itch right now. I will link it down in the description. So that's it from me. Until next time, bye bye!